Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another video brought to you by SeniorCatWellness.com. In today's material, we'll talk about why so many cats love to hunker down under vehicles. Your car, the family SUV, your neighbor's pickup truck, you name it. Cats certainly do not discriminate, and a residential neighborhood can offer up plenty of prime real estate to choose from. In addition to the why factor, we'll also address the how of the matter. We'll offer up a few pointers that could potentially serve you well on those days where you just can't get your cat to budge and come out from underneath that car. Before we take a closer look at this very important subject, let's first explore today's topic overview. Get your cat from under the car into a cat carrier by tempting it with treats and enticing smells. If ineffective, appeal to your cat's hunting instincts. For example, draw the cat into the carrier using toys. If the cat is stubborn, you should physically shepherd it out. As a last resort, scare the cat so that it bolts into the carrier. While we did include the bit about a cat carrier, it is different strokes for different folks for sure, depending on your objective. If the core goal is to get your cat out from under a vehicle, it could be a situation where the cat comes out and you just let it continue exploring the great outdoors. I've been there and certainly done that. It's not always about trying to get your cat in the most literal and physical sense. It could be a case where you just want your cat out of that environment, as in out from underneath the car. Depending on what you allow your cat to do outside as part of the daily routine, that will determine the aftermath and what comes next once your cat is back out in those open spaces. Load up the patience. Your cup runneth over. Fill up on the patience because you're going to need it before attempting to exercise any measures that will get your cat up and on the move. This is especially true if you're a novice owner. If you can see your cat, yet you can't get your cat to come out, it can drive you up a wall. It can be easy to get irritated, annoyed, all of those emotions. This is where patience does come into play. Those savvy cat vets, those longtime owners, most of us have had to cut our teeth over the years. Patience is often born because we lost ours a time or 10. Hey, it does happen to the very, very best of us. And speaking of the very best, that would be each and every one of you. The viewers of Senior Cat Wellness, you are the best. We thank you for joining us today. Your time means the world to us. Your support is everything. Videos are nothing at all without an audience, and we are very appreciative that we have one. If this is your very first video, hello and welcome. If you are a seasoned Senior Cat Wellness pro, welcome back. We hope you enjoy today's content and find it informative. And we do hope to see you again down the road. Now, let's talk about why cats love their automobiles so much and how we can get them to stop changing the oil and come on out. Let's go. The underside of a vehicle is a form of shelter. Just like the roof over your head, it's a place to chill, a place to relax, a place to hide from danger, and a place to sleep. And depending on the forecast for that day, the underside of a vehicle could be a nice spot to cool down from the heat, warm up from the cold, stay out of the rain, and take cover from the snow. It's everything that you'd think it would be. And on the surface, can you really blame a cat? Hey, it's a clever location. But that's pretty much where the fun ends. As for the rest of the story, it's a tale of stress and annoyance for you, perhaps even a bit of fear, as life under a vehicle can take some negative turns for your feline. Some cats enjoy resting on tires in the wheel well area. Depending on the vehicle, a cat can almost go virtually undetected and visually undetected. Of course, this can spell trouble for a cat that is resting or asleep as the engine fires or the car begins to move. The underside of a vehicle is home to chemicals, motor oil being the most obvious. Many years ago, one of my cats returned home with somewhat of a mohawk thanks to resting under a car. It was a humorous moment, but it could have easily been a rather sour one. Some cats get under a vehicle and get curious, so curious, in fact, they find themselves within the engine itself. This is a massive problem, to say the very least. Not only can a cat become physically stuck and potentially injured, they can also come in contact with, here again, those toxic substances. It is for these reasons that your cat should always be coaxed out from underneath a vehicle as soon as possible upon being spotted. Never take the they'll be fine approach, because even if it looks like a safe location, everything can change within a matter of seconds. Cats are curious creatures, and the underside of a vehicle offers up a lot to be curious about. And once you couple that with an unsuspecting car owner just looking to take a drive and get from point A to point B, well, you've just ushered in yet another negative scenario, and God forbid if that unsuspecting driver is you and the cat in question just happens to be yours. Let's now talk about some positive measures to make sure that your cat's automotive adventures have a happy ending. The core efforts to coax your cat from underneath a car should always be based on temptations, the act of tempting, and perhaps actual temptations. The cat treats. Any sort of scare tactics can be used, but they should only be implemented in an emergency and last ditch effort scenario. Exhaust all temptation methods first. And speaking of first up is food. Cats are always food focused. Tempt your cat with a meal or some treats. Depending on the environment, especially if the sun has gone down, place a meal on a paper plate and just place it in your cat's view and then just walk away. If your cat doesn't want to come out because people are around, use the food as a baiting tool. More times than not, a cat will come out of any type of hiding location if the coast is clear and the smell of good food is in the air. Of course, there's obviously more than one way to achieve this objective, so much depends on your cat's personality. You could just shake a container of treats at high noon and your cat could just come running out. Use food as a temptation, but use it how you see fit. You know your cat and you know the general environment. The next way to bait your cat is through scent. While food alone can pack quite a punch, catnip can also do the trick. Honeysuckle, strawberries, and general familiar scents can also work. Blankets or even used litter. Life under a car can usher in several new and intriguing scents. That's why the scents you provide need to be enticing. So much behind getting a cat from underneath a vehicle involves shifting your cat's attention. Cats are always more inclined to shift focus once something more intriguing comes along. Any type of bait should always be used as the ultimate look over here moment. The objective is to make whatever you're doing or offering up more appealing than the underside of the vehicle. And speaking of enticing, another tactic involves stimulating your cat's natural hunting instincts. Toys and entertainment can often get the job done. Cats love to stalk. And if your feline thinks that something beyond the underside of the car is worth stalking, they'll be out from under that vehicle in no time flat. Cats are always looking for the next best thing, sort of like a kid with toys. Something is very cool until, well, it's not. And then it's on to the next thing. Cats are very much the same. Use familiar and unfamiliar toys as bait. Curiosity will eventually win the day and work in your favor. The final tip that we'll offer up today involves what is known as physical shepherding. This is an if all else fails type of measure, just shy of scaring your cat, which is the ultimate last ditch effort. Shepherding involves forcing your cat out of the space. The goal is to make the underside of the vehicle an uncomfortable place. Consider sliding a long piece of wood or even a lengthy tree limb under the car as a means to sort of root your cat out. This is not a play session, but rather a friendly force measure. Here again, the goal is essentially to annoy your cat to the point where it gets up and leaves. The comfort of the car has been ruined by those humans, and that is what you want your cat to think. Make the resting spot uncomfortable without being aggressive to your cat, a rooting out tactic. And before we close things out, the last measure is those scare tactics. We'll talk about it briefly, but we'll leave the bulk of it for another day. And this is pretty much exactly what you would think it is. Measures designed to spook your cat to the point of fleeing. While one could suggest this is indeed the easiest way to accomplish your goals, it's not the safest, and it's honestly not the smartest. And it could actually conclude in a very bad result, especially if your cat were to flee the car and then dart into neighborhood traffic. This is indeed an option, but please make it your very last one, as in the ultimate final measure. And on that note, that will close things out for the video portion of today's material. However, if you'd like more information concerning this very important and often relatable topic, we do encourage you to visit us at seniorcatwellness.com at the conclusion of today's presentation. There you will find a full-length and high-quality article dedicated to everything we've talked about today and so much more. Are you currently watching us offsite? If so, we invite you to click the initial link in the description box below. Said link will take you to all of the information. And until our paths cross again, and I certainly hope they do, we'd like to thank you once again for joining us today. Please have a wonderful day. All the best to you and yours, and we will talk to you later.